My name is Lolo Puzzlo, and this is Media Delta. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Media Delta. The thing we're talking about today, technically, there is actually a video game based on this property. However, this property in and of itself is heavily video game related enough that I felt like it warranted just kind of being able to do this thing, kind of cold, like kind of reason why we did like The Wizard in that and like some other like video game related thing that this is a kind of pretty well known one. I would think of movies that are semi related to video games. And technically this was not just a movie, it was also based on a graphic novel series. What we are talking about today is Scott Pilgrim versus the World. In particular, the 2010 movie adaptation that was directed by Edgar Wright. So yeah, this was a thing that we watched. I was not the only one who watched it. In fact, we got quite a few people to talk about this movie. So please introduce yourselves in alphabetical order.
Hi, I'm Axe, and I wouldn't go through all this effort.
Hi, I'm Carnival, and I just have to say, yeah, just leave Canada. It's a mysterious place.
Is Coolio here? You know what? He just left.
And I am, of course, Deathmaster 780.
Which comes before K. I'm sorry.
And I am Torpid Typist here to say Scott did it for the nookie.
All right.
No, I didn't.
Right.
This is gonna bother me the entire fucking recording, by the way.
All right. So yes, this is an interesting movie. I'll just start this off with the fact that this is actually one of the rare occurrences where I've actually seen the movie before we actually did this Media Delta.
And imagine killing 7 people in cold blood just for some pussy.
Yeah.
And money.
Money that falls out of people.
The money was secondary.
But still
It's-
important.
It's fine, they respawned.
Copious amounts of loose Canadian change.
Yeah. I watched this with my brother and sister-in-law who were really into the movie, and also my parents who were very much not. And it's funny because when I first watched this, I'm like, oh, okay, I get what this movie's about. And then I'm slowly sliding towards the reaction my parents had, which is what the hell was this? But yes, let's see. I'm trying to think about how do I even want to do this because I think we'll just do kind of go around and just do thoughts. And I'm going to do it like this because most of us were actually in a Discord. I actually did what I should do more often, which is actually show this movie on my Discord, which actually probably shouldn't say that, but hey, if you join the Discord, sometimes you can get movies. But yeah.
Advertisement.
Perfectly legitimately gathered.
Yes, I deleted after 24 hours. Actually, I think I did. I should have deleted after 24 hours. But anyway.
I would have deleted it on the spot.
Just because DM unfortunately had some other things that they had to take care of. So, DM, I'm kind of curious, what are your thoughts of this movie?
I liked it.
All right.
It's a fun little movie. Never read the comics it's based on.
All right. Yeah, because I was just kind of curious, because I know what a majority of the other ones, other people here's thoughts are, which is also why I'm going to start with Carnival. Move on to Carnival. Because Carnival? What did you think of this movie?
So, this movie is probably one of my favorites. Even after coming back to it again, it's like, ooh, this has got some things that is not okay. But visually designed, aside from the flashing, that's excusable.
There's so much flashing. I was getting a headache.
It's still probably, visually speaking, in terms of visual design and visual direction, one of my top 5. Now, what I have to say larger is like this is probably my 4th or 5th time seeing the movie, is that it shouldn't have been adapted into a movie because it loses too much of the part of the graphic novel. Because I've read the graphic novel. I read the graphic novel after I saw the movie, but it loses too much as a movie that kind of undercut some of the messages of the story. And that I think that this is a perfectly fine adaptation. It's just that the movie format is a bad format to use.
Yeah, that kind of seemed to be the thing because a lot of this seemed kind of to come out of nowhere and was kind of
It was fucking breakneck.
yeah.
Yeah, I'll elaborate on why the biggest thing I think that the movie suffers from as a result of this later. But yeah.
All right. Then in that case, let's see. I'm gonna move it over. I'm trying to randomize this a little bit because I know
Roll
just so that
dice.
we have it's not just starting with the same people. Coolio, what did you think of this movie?
I think a lot like Carnival does. I enjoy this movie. It is, for the most part, a fun movie to watch. It is a little hard on the eyes sometimes, but I think like the biggest problem it has is it has to cover so much material that is just constantly bouncing around. Like you'll have some scenes that just kind of feel like they cut in the middle of the scene into the middle of another scene type of thing.
It's also weird too because
And
like the start is slow and then it just never stops.
yeah, it does take a few minutes to, well, more than a few minutes to kind of establish everything like that it needs to, and then it just, kicks off running and does not stop until the seventh evil X has been defeated in a large shower of Canadian currency.
7 billion. $7
7
billion dollars in
billion.
Canadian dollars.
That's just fuck up the economy. For
It's like
funsies.
what, $100?
101.
I don't know what the
101.
fuck y'all are
Okay.
talking about. It's 50. Jesus.
Wow, you people have a very grim opinion about Canadian currency.
Look,
Called the loony. I
Look.
have lots of opinions about it.
give it about another year, and the American dollar will be on that side of things.
Well, nice conversations about capitalism. Anyway, yeah, it was fun. Like I watched it in theaters and I had a blast. I watched it when it happened to be on TV one time, and it was all right. And then I watched it this time, trying to be a little bit more objective about it. And it definitely is kind of problematic, especially like 10 years hence. It does things that are definitely viewed as not okay now. But it also has a couple of memorable parts that I have not forgotten, such as the joke about how, the L word, lesbian.
Yes.
No, the other
Having
L word,
lesbians with you.
lesbians.
The one
Yes,
That
joke that I will continuously make.
that will always be the joke that. Well, I always remember that joke and the Scott dives through the window.
Yeah, that was
Yes.
also good.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
See, I actually didn't remember that one personally. Like I remembered it in time for this, fortunately. But the other one that I remembered was "I Furious."
That was also another good line.
Which is a
Yes.
fucking mood and a state of being that I am constantly in.
Anyway, I enjoy it, but it has its flaws, and I'm sure that we have some people here who will gladly discuss those flaws. So I will see the floor.
All right. Axe, what did
Hello.
you think about this movie?
I thought a lot of thoughts about this movie. At first, I was kind of like leaning towards, I'm not going to like this. This is going to annoy me. And partially correct. There were definitely parts that bothered me movie starts off with the main character dating an underage girl, which is extremely not a good leg to start on.
Also, literally everybody rips on him for it too.
Yeah, rightfully so, because it's gross. And then, like, at the same time, it's kind of gross how quickly he, like, drops her for this other girl. And, like, just that, those two things in and of themselves were kind of, I didn't like about this movie. There were some funny bits. The Scott jumping through the window, that was funny. I actually liked it. But at the same time, all the goodwill that this movie could possibly build up is sort of undercut by the fact that they cast Michael Cera. I can't stand him.
It is literally impossible to take Michael Cera seriously. I fucking feel you.
No, I'm sorry. He doesn't have any range. He just plays Michael Cera in every movie. Like, I made a comment that the movie made me feel like I was watching a really weird version of Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist. Because that's the kind of movie I see Michael Cera being in. He doesn't have any real, like, dynamic range to the way he speaks. It's very, I'm a very boring, pasty white guy. And that's just what he sounds like.
I find it hard to take him seriously as like an action character.
Yeah, just looking at him, like the way he looks, he doesn't have the goods for action. So I feel he was a huge miscast for this movie. Like he was just so distracting in a lot of the scenes because he's Michael Cera, and he just comes with baggage.
Axe, I agree with you on the sense that yes, he has no range, but given the character of Pilgrim, who Scott Pilgrim is, it's unfortunately like Michael Cera is the best person to actually cast as that role.
It's kind of a catch-22 scenario with him because it's like, yeah, Scott Pilgrim, who is an unlikable like little twerp, is like, oh, who is the perfect like
Michael Cera?
This is Michael Cera is the perfect thing, which makes him more unlikable in the film form.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too is, like, I don't really get into media where the main character is unlikable. I know that's kind of like somewhat of a genre of film in its own right, but if I can't like get behind the main character, I don't know why I'm watching the movie. There's very few exceptions to that rule. Very few. But like in this case, like I couldn't get behind the character at all. He's a scumbag. He's, I don't know if I would say double dealing, but he's very two-faced about things.
He is very, very much
Scott's an awful person.
There's a phrase that comes to mind from MASH. Two-timing four-flusher.
I was just going to say disingenuous.
Yeah, he's disingenuous. He's very self-centered. His motives are just wrong. And that's just the main character. The other characters were actually kind of interesting. Like the quote unquote bad guys were way more interesting than Scott's character.
Disagree. They were very one note.
That's this is where I start yelling about the adaptation thing, because the problem is that the movie basically truncates all the events to like what I would say, if you were to guess, like you would say like that felt like a month in terms of like how the entire story happened over.
Month
A
or
couple
like
of
maybe
weeks
like,
more like.
Yeah, I was thinking like 2 or 3 weeks.
So the comic is structured in that that's an entire year. So it's the biggest problem of the film is that the comic very clearly and strongly makes the point of no, the world doesn't revolve around Scott Pilgrim. And so there's all sorts of other things that the other supporting cast do in the background that because we can't do everything in 2 hours. Like, it very importantly is like Stills has a coming out story that happens in the background that we see on panel and get direct confirmation in the 6th volume that we don't get to see because it's like we don't have the time because it's a movie.
Yeah, I mean, go ahead.
Max, I will have you know, Scott Pilgrim is a big fan of the saying, "Ain't no pussy like new pussy."
There's a drop kick in there for you. But like, as the big problem is every character as like I thought the other villain, I thought the villains were interesting, but at the same time, Torpid is right. They're very flat. They're very one note, and my experience with Scott Pilgrim is limited entirely to about 10 minutes of the game, and I found it boring. And then the movie, which I'm kind of mixed on. It's not a bad movie. It's not a terrible movie, but it's not a good movie, at least in my opinion. It's just kind of in the middle. You know, there were some interesting bits, there were some funny bits. Then there was a lot of problematic stuff, and a lot of just characters not fully fleshed out like they could have been, and Michael Cera. So, like, there's some good and some bad, but I feel it just kind of balances itself out into, like, a dead center. I enjoyed watching it, and, you know, I think part of that also was watching it with the rest of you. So there was kind of some back and forth. There was some ideas, some stuff that I wasn't thinking of that y'all brought up. And I was like, okay, yeah, you know, I can see that. And I can get Carnival how you like this having more interaction with the property in terms of reading the graphic novel. But at the same time, you know, I'm looking at it from sort of an outsider's perspective. And from an outsider's perspective, this movie is very sloppy. Its pacing is sometimes weird. Its characters aren't good enough. The main character I can't give a shit about, and I just would like to dunk his head in a toilet repeatedly. He makes really weird decisions and sometimes gross decisions. And just like, I don't feel like he actually ever really faces any consequences for his behavior. And that is really annoying to me. Some of the visual stuff was good.
Uncut Gems, fucking Adam Sandler got shot.
Yes, please don't open that wound. That is my.
Come on.
No, but okay. So very quickly, I guessed the ending to that movie, and I was still not satisfied with the way it is. But at least it has a fucking like. There's some repercussions for shit.
Yeah.
There's no repercussions in Scott Pilgrim. He just does what he wants. He gets his way, and that just sucks to watch.
Everybody's fine with it.
Yeah, everybody's cool with him being a piece of shit, and it's like, no. I want to see him get his ass beat, especially because it's Michael Cera. I definitely want to see him get his ass beat. But yeah, it's an okay film. It's got some good special effects. I don't know how a lot of that stuff works, so I always say it's wizardry. And watching the characters disappear into a shower of coins, that'll get me. That'll always get me because it's magic to me, you know? So I like the special effects. I like some of the jokes. I liked some of the characters, but at the same time, the movie felt like it was going way too hard to make me not like the stuff that I want to like. And so it was a lot of push and pull between me and the movie on whether or not I could like what I saw. And as I said, I kind of come up dead center.
All right. I just want to roll back real quick just to make sure. DM, did you have a point that you want to make?
No.
Okay. Purpo, what did you think?
Wow, even when you randomize it, I'm still at the fucking end.
Well, okay, so there might have been an ulterior reason why I did it in that order.
Is it because you know I didn't like the movie?
Yes, it is.
So, as a quick thing to what Axe said, you can, like, as a response to that, you can do a bad character, like a bad main character, like, perfectly fine and make it enjoyable. But Scott was fucking insufferable. He was kind of just an awful person, awful in every way throughout the movie. And unlike the comic, the movie just kind of vindicates him.
Mm-hmm.
It just promotes his bad behavior because it never actually gets back at him for it. It never really emphasizes that, yes, he's a bad person. There's a brief little bit where he's like, maybe I suck a little bit, but then once again, doesn't matter. Still gets his fucking way. Like, Knives Show is perfectly fine that he broke up with her. It's fucking whatever. It's fine. And now he's got Ramona. And the weird thing, too, is, like, at the very end, he's, like, supposed to reconcile with his dark, evil self. And then, less than a minute later, he walks out of the building, perfectly happy, hand in hand with him. And it's like, oh, you really, you learned nothing, did you?
The evil version of Scott was just Scott himself, so.
Yeah, exactly. That's why he got along. Thick as thieves.
Got himself with a questionable filter on
I
him.
honestly like the filter. It looks awful, but I like it.
Like it took a while, but like first I was like, damn.
I hate the name more than I hate the filter, but
Yeah.
Yeah, that one I can't. That one just comes straight from the comics, so I can't do anything about that one.
But yeah, no. Overall, though, I fucking hate Scott. I hate Scott. I hate that nothing ever comes of it. That he doesn't learn a lesson. And the whole way through, all of the villains are pretty one note, and I think the action looks pretty goofy on the whole. There's some decent choreography here and there, but like as a whole, a lot of it looks real fucking not great. But also, it's because of the style of the I just don't really vibe with, which is trying to go for the comic-y look, but with actual people, and it just doesn't jive for me.
Kind of almost in a way is a
Yeah.
lot less. It's like a 2010s version of Dick Tracy.
Yeah,
You know, that says a lot then, because I also like Dick Tracy. So, or at
don't
least
Dick
I like
Tracy.
the visuals of Dick Tracy as well. So,
Like there was something to be said for some of the visual design, but like as a whole, I wasn't a huge fan, and also I can't take Michael Cera seriously when fighting at all.
no.
Not even just fighting, just in general.
Generally,
he's-
yes, but like especially in something like serious or actiony, I just looks so out of place. He has that super awkward like soft boy look always, and it doesn't mesh.
He's like a timid little deer when he's fighting, and it's just so goofy looking.
It's why he was great as George Michael in Arrested Development, but as anything else,
I
it's
was gonna
just
say, like, the closest thing to ranged I enjoyed was in Twin Peaks, where they deliberately like emphasize his look and just make him sound weird as hell.
I will say it is a little awkward to see him fight, but at least the fight choreography.
It's 50-50 at
It-
best.
it kind of started out real kind of weak, and then as the movie got better. But
Yeah, the first fight's really fucking bad.
First fight's bad. First fight's bad. No, the first fight's bad.
The second fight isn't even a fucking fight. But yeah, no, I don't know. I didn't hate it completely. I just didn't really enjoy it, and there's just so many aspects of it that just didn't jive with me. The
There also-
window joke was funny. I still find the "I'm in lesbians with you" joke amusing too,
Mm.
because I'm trash. But yeah, no. Also, I need to comment a bit more on the flashing lights. So like, I have a migraine that never goes away, a permanent fucking migraine. And while I am being treated for it, I still do have the photophobia that comes with it, meaning I'm sensitive to bright flashing lights. So watching this movie gave me a headache, a very painful one. So it's part of why I wasn't having a good time watching it either, because there's quite a bit of flashing, and it doesn't feel great. Some music's all right, but I'm still angry that they have an inferior version of Black Sheep in there.
Oh, come on. You think they weren't going to actually play the full version? You're right.
The
It's the
full
inferior
version.
version.
It's so much better. The original vocals are infinitely better.
You're right, but that's not here or there.
I also feel it kind of bears mentioning, because I mentioned it before, that we watched it yesterday. Today, I completely forgot what the fuck we had watched yesterday until I looked in the chat and saw, oh yeah, it was Scott Pilgrim. So
Yeah,
that bears mentioning.
a lot of the in-between is fairly forgettable. Like the entire Scott and his ex subplot over really fast, full of a bunch of really unfunny vegan jokes. Remember that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you need that
fucking remember that.
10 minutes.
Fucking it is unbearable, all of the really, really unfunny vegan jokes. About how a man was made more powerful because he's vegan, but actually he was low-key cheating, so the vegan police came in and stole his vegan powers away. And Scott murdered
Yeah,
him.
that was just weird.
Yeah, that's you can. It's very much it's just a time capsule of
It's
like
a time.
when,
Yeah, it's a time capsule.
back when going vegan was like, oh, but also
Back when it was fashionable to shit on vegans.
yeah.
It's such a it's a messy movie.
It just picks a bad joke and then it runs with it for way too damn long.
Yeah. Did you have any other thoughts? At least for the moment.
So the pacing was a dumpster fire. Utter absolute shit show pacing. It was so bad. And I'm not just talking about, how slow the beginning is, like the first fucking half hour of the movie is. It's because they're trying so hard to establish every character. and also try to pretend that Scott isn't a fucking piece of shit. But then, like, on top of that, just the fights start happening rapid fire, and just everyone ends up super one note because of it. Like, the first fight, guy appears out of nowhere, immediately fucking murked. Second guy, oh, movie star, fucking dies doing a sick ass grind down a hill. And that's the last we think of him. And just like a lot of the fights end up being like that, where it's just like super just out of nowhere and they don't expand on them. Like Carnival, why don't you mention the twins real quick? Because Ramon is also a terrible person, but they never actually really go over that in the movie.
Okay, yeah, no. Here's actually, because again, I did some research because this comes up with both Roxy and the twins. Because during at this point, Roxy ends up like making out with Ramona while she's with Scott, because Scott had went and actually had the one like, oh hey, Scott was a decent person and just had a normal like dinner with a friend of his from high school. And so Roxy ends up showing up and just kind of ends up cheating. She ends up cheating on Scott during that. In addition to the twins, Ramona dated both of the twins and ended up cheating on them. And it's like, I don't think they got too much more of a focus than that, other than like, we don't really get more of like who was what. But the point being there is like, no, Ramona's just as bad as a person as Scott is. It's like genuinely like, if I were to go through and like read everything, it's like I would come up to it like, maybe Ramona's worse, maybe.
Yeah, and then so there's that. A lot of the characters in One Note, even though they do get expanded at least to some degree in the comic, but like the worst case of that, like by far, is like the big bad seventh and final ex-boyfriend.
Which I gotta talk about this because it's like Scott and Ramona are bad people. This dude needs to go because it's like they don't touch on this but he invented a weapon for the military that puts people called the glow that traps people in their worst memories and makes their own vices, and that's what he used to get the League of Evil X's and alter both Ramona and Scott's memories. Just because, not to mention, he also kidnapped and kept in like cryostasis tubes his own ex-girlfriends, because it's like, oh, this dude needs to. It's like, oh, this dude is actually like beyond the awfulness of the main protagonist. This dude's a monster.
I mean, the more I'm hearing about this, the more I think this property sucks, and like the less I want to engage in it.
It kind of was very much writing on the fact that, hey, it's something that's based on like it makes a lot of video game references.
Yeah, no, it is very much of the time in every way, shape, and form.
It's of the time. Like, let me go back. Like, the original first novel was published in 2004, if I remember. Yeah, it ran from 2006 volumes that ran from 2004 to 2010. So it's like, it was just a thing that was at the right place at the right time and got popular because of that. I still enjoy it, but I'm going to acknowledge that.
This is
just about that. The comic actually wasn't finished before the movie was. Like, he finished it as the movie was being made.
Yeah.
Which is because they made two separate endings for it because they didn't know who Scott was going to end up with at the end.
And then just O'Malley came down like, yep, nope, done. I figured it out. And then that's what they went with, is what we saw in the Netflix and everything. So
it's also making me think about like, oh, hey, it's something that's like, oh, very video game and nerdy kind of references, and it's making me realize that. I'm like, man, I really hope that I don't get desperate enough for ideas that I have us look at Lucky Star.
Hey, fellow gamers.
I thought you were going to say Ready Player One, and a child's looking at like, come on, this is better than Ready Player One. Maybe not by much.
At some point, we're gonna have to look at Ready Player One.
No,
I mean,
just based on the fact that it's just filled with media that we've probably touched on or may touch on.
I would have to be paid a lot of actual money to do that. Like, anyway, that would just remind me of like, man, I really hate Lucky Star. but that's something completely different. Which actually, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say if you didn't have any other thoughts, I was just
No,
going to.
I got more thoughts, but yeah. So after mentioning all that about the kind of villain he was in the comic, in the movie, his two character traits are just being evil and rich, and that's about it.
And Jason Schwartzman.
And Jason Schwartzman, yeah. It's just all of the villains, all of them are just super one note and uninteresting, and just the whole way through, it's truncated to a point where it is a far lesser product for it.
Yeah.
Also, God, fucking Scott's guitar is super overtuned, and I don't like all the distortion. It's a personal preference thing.
Yeah, I didn't really enjoy the music in the movie, to be honest.
I enjoyed Black Sheep, but that's because I like Metric, and that's about it.
I was gonna say I liked some of the music that it was like Sex Bob-omb's music. I didn't particularly care for.
Yeah. Did you like when they played the fucking Fairy Fountain theme from Legend of Zelda? Remember that?
I
They
might have
did
actually.
that?
I might have actually stepped up for that.
They did. They fucking
did, yeah.
did.
Oh, right. Yeah, I think I kind of remember.
Yeah, they used a bunch of like weird snippets of video game music, and I still fucking don't feel that.
Like, it was great because when I was testing to make sure the movie was working, like it starts with just playing the like
Universal
opening of like, well, that one I kind of understand, but then they just stared up raw ass do the intro to Link to the Past, which was great when I was watching it because I was like watching it and then I hear it, I'm like, is my foobar like playing music? Because it's like that just might have come up on my foobar. I'm like, no, that's just part of the thing, and they're not like doing a pastiche on it. They're just playing the song.
Yeah, no, they just fucking raw play that shit. Same thing with the Fairy Fountain theme. They just do that a lot, and it's fucking weird every time.
I mean, I'd rather than just do it. Like, I'm sure, like, I know Nintendo lawyers well enough that they paid for it, so, but like, I'd rather than just play it and not comment on it. I think that's actually kind of great, to be honest.
That'd be nice if it didn't just make the music feel like just it's all over the place.
Well, especially it's great because it's like after the little intro bit when it's very clear. Then they just have like just Link to the Past music, but it's just being played in the background. And you can tell it's someone playing it because you hear like the menu come up every once in a while, and it's super low. So it's like you can barely hear it in the background, which is like, am I hearing it? Is like, it's very weird.
Yeah. Oh no. I guess like for all my gripes, I don't hate the movie. I just don't really like it, and there's a lot of issues I have with it. Like this, I really don't like a lot of it because it takes me out of it immensely. Like I don't mind a powerful look and aesthetic, but like in this it just looks kind of goofy.
Especially since
Should have been animated. Should have been animated.
well, that also might have helped, but also I felt like it was almost like inconsistent because it was like when they decided to use like the onomatopoeia of like the action, it's not 100% of the time like when it would. So it's just very occasionally things will happen, and it sometimes just seems kind of random.
Well, it's also like the issue with the inconsistent fight choreography because sometimes it's just let's just have fucking Michael Cera pose in a kick pose with speed lines going by. And other times it's like an actual fucking fight, and it's just so inconsistent with it because it felt like they were trying to save time. But yeah, no, that's those are my feelings on it, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. My thoughts are pretty much like I'll be honest, when I start, there were a couple times in this movie where I just had to walk out of the room because it was like, I hate using this word because I feel like this word has a lot of problems now. Cringe. I felt like it was very much like I had to walk away because this was just like setting off
fucking uncomfortable for you to watch.
Trying so hard.
And it was like I just need to step away for a second. And that's very much just a me thing, but I really was not feeling the movie at first, but as it went through, I'm like, okay, I can kind of see where this is going. Like
Yeah,
once the
there's-
Evil X's thing happened, it becomes a much better movie.
Even then, though, initially it's still pretty rough with Evil X's. Like it's weird. It's kind of just all over the place quality wise.
It doesn't really pick up well until the second X, and that's when things kind of start to fall into place. It's still jumbled, but it's like it's better than the first like 30 to 45 minutes.
Yeah, no, it's like the second hour of the film because this film is an hour 50, I might add.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's an hour 50, and like I was shocked because it's
And
like
even then,
Yeah.
it's aggressively truncated.
Mhm.
yeah,
It's an hour 50 and still has to go 160 kilometers a second.
Yes.
A second, an hour.
No, a second is fine.
It's
No, it
hot
still
in here,
checks out.
okay?
There's no such thing as kilometers, so it's okay.
Oh, we should all go to the superior
Listen,
metric
you're-
system. We've been over this.
Yeah. Also, there was another thing that was on the back of my mind, and it's something that is very much like is as we were watching this, we're like, yeah, this is 2010. There was, I don't want to call it an incident, but there was something that me and a group of other people were like, oh, hey, let's watch a movie. And someone noted that Idiocracy was free on YouTube. And I had heard about that movie, and we were watching it, and it was like, okay, the plot's kind of not that great.
15
we
minutes.
we had to stop after that because it was like, this is like, you forget what you could get away with not that long ago.
Oops, all slurs.
Pretty much.
It's
and
Mike
this-
Judge
Eugenics
Yeah.
and slurs. It's something else.
which this isn't that bad, but it's still, some of it's like, oh yeah, you couldn't, like,
I feel like this just didn't have the time to flesh out Scott the way it needed to, which is, hey, he is a bad person.
yeah. Also, some of the things with the roommates a little weird.
Yeah, the gag with them all sharing like the same bed kind of hit wrong after a while.
Also, some phrasing was also kind of like especially if you're taking this from a comic from the early 2000s, like the fact that you have a gay character to begin with is probably thing. But thinking about it now is like the way that they make that character and like his mannerisms are very this was definitely not written by a gay person. Like that was a couple things. Also, there's some very some like the fact that the power like there are some things with like very casual. It was like, oh yeah, I did this. It was like, oh yeah, he's the only non-white person in the school, and like, oh, it's also having the person be the mystical dude. Also, was like
Non-white, non-jock. You had to state the full
Yes.
thing.
Again, Ramona's probably worse than Scott.
but it's like, man, I forgot that yes.
Yeah,
Or,
no,
like,
it's
her rebuffing the lady lover is like, I was just bi-curious, just like trying her best to just push it away.
Yeah, I hated that bit quite a lot.
It didn't hit good.
It-
It didn't hit good.
I think she also said it was a phase, and I'm like,
Yeah, it was just a phase.
I want to fucking hit something.
And she
right
was
now.
just bi-curious.
yeah, it's like
To which
oh
the
my
girl
god.
responds with, well, I'm bi-furious, which was a good response.
Yes.
It's like oh god. It's like I knew going into this is like oh there's things that are not gonna age well. It's like oh my god, that they did that.
It's also especially great because it was like, oh yeah, this is like this is like 3 years after Superbad, which also looking into that one was much worse.
That's Judd Apatow, so it's not going to be good.
Yeah, it's the kind of thing. It's like I'm, of course, things are of the time, but also it's just one of those funny things to watch. It's like this isn't that long ago. Like you watch something from the 80s, like okay, this isn't great, but also this is 40 years ago. But this was, I remember this movie coming out.
Yeah, no, same. I
Yeah.
remember this movie coming out, and it's like oh wow, times change.
Yeah,
Yeah, honestly, if we'd like reviewed it back then, I probably would have had very different opinions on it. But like now that like so much has changed and evolved, like you look back on it, it's just it ain't good.
Uh, Yeah, that is just something that I had in the back of my mind when I was watching this. That I just kind of thought, especially since we watch a lot of like older stuff, and it's like, this is the kind of stuff I expect then, but actually it's not that old. Other than that, it's like also the video game stuff is because I feel like we should bring it up because that's kind of part of the thing. A lot of it is ham-fisted. Some of the references I don't mind because like the band names. You have Crash and the Boys and you have Clash of Demon Head, which I feel like if you're gonna make references of that, it's like people like me who understand those. It's like, oh hey, they're referencing these very obscure games, like those work. But then again, if you don't know what those are just weird band names. It's the kind of references that I really like. The music in some of the stuff is very ham-fisted, but that's also another thing that I felt kind of a little off.
That actually reminds me is that there's like things that are expanded on much more in the comic that just weirdly get picked up and then immediately dropped. Like the fucking what is it? The interdimensional highway or whatever that runs
the
through
interdimensional
Scott's
highway.
head.
Yeah, that runs through people's heads. That's like, because
just mention that like for a second, then immediately fucking drop it like a sack of potatoes.
Because that's how Ramona works as a courier, because she teleports all over the place using this highway that runs through various people's heads. Like, that's the thing, because it's like, it's a literal portal to people's minds. That's how the whole glow cyber weapon thing gets to people. And it's just like, wait, no. Why did you made a choice here. I understand why this choice was made, but it wasn't a good choice.
See, I never even picked up on that until it was pointed out during this watching.
Yeah, it's an issue because it's so aggressively truncated. There's like all these plot points that are brought up that are immediately fucking dropped.
And I feel like if they had shaved off like 15 to 20 minutes of the intro, they could have had at least a little bit of time to mention these things in a little bit more depth. Like that's still not a lot of time, but it like the intro is just way too damn long, to get to the actual plot. It didn't need that. It didn't need to be so like, because it didn't really add anything. Like, what did we really gain from that first 30 to 45 minutes?
We got to see Scott lie aggressively to both of his girlfriends.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's no real
not even feeling
development.
bad about it. I need to add, he doesn't feel bad about it.
Yeah, but
he's
like,
just worried he'll get caught.
In that period of time, we get introduced to a number of characters, but that's about it. Like, we don't really get any context to them. There's no real depth to any of them. It's just it doesn't use its time well at all. At least I don't think it did.
No, as I said, the pacing is just inconsistent.
Yeah, no, it's, again, I agree. Like, as someone who likes this, it's like, yeah, no, movie was a bad choice to adapt this to.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with that. I guess in that case, that's kind of just in general my thought. Did anyone have anything else they want to mention?
I do.
All right.
So the movie's cast quite a who's who of people who would go on to be quite famous. Cause,
yeah.
We mentioned Michael Cera, but we also had Mary Elizabeth Winstead as Ramona, Chris Evans, Lewis Lee, Anna Kendrick as Stacy Pilgrim, Brie Larson as Envy, Aubrey Plaza as Julie Powers. Who else? Oh yeah, Brandon Routh. Yeah, Brendan Routh, Mae Whitman, Ellen Wong, a lot of other people.
I do want to say really quick about the Chris Evans thing, which is amusing to me, is he just always has this supposedly angry look, but the man has a look in a face that is like never intimidating.
I was supposed to be like smug look.
No, he like fucking angry eyebrows and everything.
I think it was kind of trying to be a little bit of both.
It didn't work.
I kind of agree with Torpid that Chris Evans kind of has that American apple pie look to him.
I mean, that also works because,
Captain
America.
Yeah. But it works for that, but it kind of, like, I agree with Torpid. It does kind of undercut the character a little when he can't really pull off an intimidating look.
I never thought he was supposed to be. I just thought he was supposed to be a smug guy. I thought he was hot shit.
Oh yeah,
I
he
mean,
can either smug an asshole, but he can't really intimidate.
Yeah, I kind of also thought mostly smug.
Granted, it's like, hey, to be fair, Brie Larson was all like what? There's like, how many albums of Metric could have been put out at this point? This was 2010, so like 5 albums are out at this point.
Let's
Carpet.
find out. I don't know. I'm looking it up. Give me a second.
Because let's see, because it's not Synthetica, because that would have just come out like.
You said when was this?
2010 was
2010.
this movie.
There'd be 4 albums at this point.
Okay, yeah, so
4 studio albums. Excuse me.
yeah, 4 studio albums. So like, go listen to Metric. If nothing else, you could take. If you're gonna take nothing else from this movie, just go listen to Metric.
I mean, they are pretty good. I did manage to see him in concert one time. It's a good show.
It's a band based on a fake measurement system.
They are the superior measurement system.
Also, I did want to add call out 2 specific people. Wallace, the roommate, being played by something that I did not learn until I was looking it up. Kieran Culkin, who is, I believe, Macaulay Culkin's brother.
Younger brother.
Was it the younger one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But I didn't realize that the Culkin family was a family of actors. I thought it was just Macaulay. But
Nope.
there's a lot.
You know
of
what?
them.
Now that you pointed out, I can kind of make out the family resemblance.
It's all in the face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, Mae Whitman being in there was incredibly funny, fighting Michael Cera, because I watched a lot of Arrested Development, and her as Anne in that show is really kind of amusing to me, even though she plays a completely different character in here. But she does a really good job in this one. I think the actors do a pretty good job. It's just, I feel like the material they have to work with is, if anything, anything of the faults.
Yeah,
Like
I would agree with that. It's
Also, Thomas Jane as one of the vegan police was pretty good.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, Thomas Jane. It's always good seeing him.
And one other thing to note is that this was directed by Edgar Wright, probably best known for the Cornetto trilogy.
Yeah, that's
Some other
like
stuff like Baby Driver,
that's
Ant-Man.
one of the reasons why I'm surprised at how disappointed I was with this film, is because I really like Edgar Wright. You know, Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, fantastic movies. I still haven't seen the 3rd of the Cornetto trilogy.
Fuzz is so fucking good.
They're such good movies. They're so well written, and this movie's just so lacking.
It's because they had to fit 6 volumes into 2 hours.
Yeah, it was
I know, but still, like, you could have
truncated to
done
hell.
2 movies.
Yeah. Also, the 3rd movie is The World's End, just for those who are trying to remember what it did also.
Yeah. I still have to see that so I can finish off the trilogy. But I mean, like, I like Edgar Wright. He's a great writer. He's a great director. And you know what? There are Edgar Wright touches here and there in this movie. There are some good directions and good ideas in it. I just don't feel it comes together well.
I just want to watch Hot Fuzz now.
Yeah, Hot Fuzz. I like Shaun of the Dead more, though.
I prefer Hot Fuzz, but
Yeah,
I have
Personal
not
preference.
seen any of them.
Yeah, same.
Hot Fuzz is one giant rising action, is how I will describe it.
and Shaun of the Dead is basically a rom-com with zombies.
Right.
And it's
Um,
really freaking good.
Other than that, is there anything that you want to bring up?
No, that was it.
Yeah,
Oh,
no, I said my
yeah.
piece and then some.
I
Yep,
like them burnt.
yep. I'm ready to go for the time for the real fight.
Just to clear us all, Koyo, did you have any additional
Let's
comments?
let's do some numbers.
All right, so yeah, let's rank this. So
Right.
we're going to use our normal 1 to 21 scale with the 3 extras. With 1 being absolute mastercraft. I really shouldn't say can't get any better, because it's a really good movie. Top of its type, might be a better phrasing of it. To 21, which is absolute garbage and not even like you could get very minimal amusement out of watching this. So let's do it in. I'm kind of curious to see if I can guess this in terms of numbers going from high to low. Carnival.
Also,
Or go ahead.
one thing really quick, why is Dick Tracy listed as action and not hero?
Do I have a hero?
You do.
Yeah, you do.
Didn't we use it for Batman?
And
And Teenage Mutant
Oh.
Ninja Turtles.
Oh, here.
Documentary.
There. Excellent.
Dick Tracy, a documentary.
It
So-
was giving me some weird sorting because it's not
Yeah.
it's not in alphabetical.
But like I guess like looking at it back, like when I first was thinking just of my memory as like maybe as 8, but like thinking back into after watching like 10 or 11 would be where I put it.
All right. DM.
9.
Okay, I'm already wrong. Coolio.
I'm sticking
think I
around
said-
there. Yeah, between 9 and 11 around.
9/11. Okay, no, I'd really screw this up. Okay.
I haven't forgotten.
All right, Axe.
Yeah, dead center. 11.
All right, Turbo.
I'm searching my heart and seeing if I prefer it over TMNT or not. The movie.
Which I
Yeah.
mean that's a 12, which is very funny in terms of what I already wrote down for me.
I would rather watch the Street Fighter movie, but like TMN, I say 12. Let's just say 12.
All right.
It's definitely better than Dick Tracy and Batman at the very least.
Hold on, let me totally not rewrite what I was going to put in. I apparently was going to be the asshole this time. I was going low, like because I was expecting this to be a little bit
Well,
lower.
it's
'cause
not
I
a
was-
bad movie. I just don't like it. There's a difference.
Yeah, like I said, it's not bad. It's not good. It's
Because I was actually looking at Dick Tracy and I was like, that might be.
I would rather watch this over fucking Dick
But
Tracy.
yeah,
Yeah,
let me-
no, this is a
let me-
better movie than Dick Tracy.
Yeah,
now
let
you
me-
mention it, I'd much rather like TMNT the movie over this, like easily.
Well, that is.
See, it says a lot that I don't really remember it at all. Like,
See, I remember it, but I remember it for the wrong reasons.
yeah, you remember it for the mouth in the mouth.
Yes.
I don't know. I found this much more memorable, at least, than TMNT.
Which that puts us in a pretty. I mean, that's 9 to 12, which is a lot easier to reconcile than Uncut Gems was.
Pretty close grouping.
That was bloodthirsty.
Yeah, because that was. I mean, it's literally the. Well, no, it's not. It's. I mean, if we do dead even on that one, that's 10. Just to start out with, so that at 10, we got JoJo's Bizarre Adventure OVA, Nickelodeon Guts and Wizardry. You know what? In hindsight, I kinda am thinking more, but
Like like looking at this directly, it's like I know I'm one of the people who advocate for this movie, so I'm going to end up being higher by default. But like looking exactly, it's like at our 9 to 10 range, where it's like it feels a pretty solid 10 to me, because it's like I feel like I'd definitely looking at our like 9 range. I definitely watch Soul Brain again over Scott Pilgrim. So
I mean,
Yeah, Soul Brain was interesting, and I would definitely watch it over Scott Pilgrim.
yeah, because at the 9, which I mean, because I'm looking at the stuff in 11, and I'm like,
no, I definitely watch Scott Pilgrim over both of those in 11. So it's like
yeah.
I mean, if we are going by what's on the board, I would rather watch this both Mega Man and. But I'm not ready to call this an 8.
Yeah, I think 8 would be a
To
little
be fair,
bit too high.
I would watch this over Tron, but I fucking hate Tron.
like I said, the
Nah,
highest
really?
the highest this goes is 9.
Yeah,
But even then, I would say it's more likely a 10.
Yeah, I would. So like my struggle here too is like I would watch this over A Boy Named Charlie Brown or Little Nemo, but I enjoyed Street Fighter a lot more.
Yeah, some of
So-
these are just how some of these in 12 got placed.
Yeah, it's a taste thing. at
Because I
this
remember
point.
Street Fighter used to be up at 8.
Yeah, I really like Street Fighter. I think it's a fun movie. Is it good? No, but it's fun.
Oh, that movie's bad, but it's great.
It's fucking hot dog shit. No, I'm fine with 10. I'm not in the mood to fight it because it's not really worth fighting it out.
Yeah, I feel like 10 as like a raw average, I feel is probably good. Also, it's a little bit more diversity in 10. All
Oh,
right,
fucking
so
God. Shut up.
Look, we gotta pad those stats, Torpid. We gotta pad the stats.
I'll fucking
As we
slap
say
you
in
down.
almost every single media delta, you don't have to put it in there just to put it in there.
yeah, but I do.
Oh no, there's a
really-
lot of people who disagree with you.
I mean, to be fair, I would also feel like 10's a good. I feel like compromise for how we're feeling.
Yeah, I don't hate it.
Yeah, I don't hate it, don't love it.
I mean, it is also above the 11 lines, so that is also saying something. Let's also remember that these rankings I always envision these having a margin of error with it. And also, I kind of am starting to come with the idea that these numbers very much should not be seen as something objective and is more of a likelihood that you might enjoy it, and not saying, hey, there's things in one you might not like, but it's less likely that you might not like it.
Are you perhaps implying that taste may be involved? I say staring at Tron.
No.
That was your
Look.
crusade for the first year. For that
It
first year.
still
Everyone-
fucking is. I think 9 is too high for that.
Oh my
higher.
god! I thought we
every-
fucking settled this.
No, we never
Everyone-
will.
Everyone gets their thing that they really like, and everyone gets their one thing they really hate.
Oh, that reminds me. Let me find the channel. You still have that channel up? Let's see that channel. Put that channel up.
What channel?
The re-ranking channel.
Oh,
I-
that one.
no.
Oh, yes. That is some
Bring that
different
back,
thing.
Fucking-
goddammit.
I fucking dislike Tron so immensely, but also at the end of the day, it's not that we reconciled, it's we came to a compromise.
And
A
besides,
very tenuous compromise.
Also, I have no idea what to put for the tone of this movie.
Deals were made behind closed doors to get Tron
Oh.
at 9.
do you have like a twee tone?
I wouldn't
Action.
call this
It's an action
twee.
movie.
It's an action
It's-
movie.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, but it is an action movie. But the problem is that
Oh.
tone is a different
Tone.
thing.
Oh,
Confusing psychedelic. I don't know.
Punch.
What are the
Punch
what
man?
were the tones? What?
Punchy kicky maybe.
Yeah,
what-
punchy
what-
kicky.
What
That's
were
a good
the
tone.
tones listed?
Sure.
Tones are listed if you scroll over to MD Charms Guide. It's the first. It's the faces.
Tone, cartoony.
Cartoony, actually, yeah.
yeah, cartoony.
It's cartoony without being a cartoon.
Yeah, fucking
It's,
weird.
it's
right?
not quite Space Jam, but it's more cartoony than reality.
Fucking when do we do Space Jam?
Oh, God.
I forgot that the new one's
I
out.
literally have not seen that movie since I was a child.
Same, and also like my dad was telling me about how he saw it with my mom, and is like, yeah, it's okay. There's some good moments.
As I remember,
really-
it's not a bad film. It's just junk food.
It is very much just junk food. So I went ahead and put the photosensitivity warning in here. I don't know if it really. I don't think there's really anything else.
I just took a quick look, and there does seem to be a Space Jam game for DOS.
Oh, we've done a jam game. We did it for the PlayStation. It's really bad.
Mm-hmm.
There is
Huh.
one for PlayStation. I didn't remember that.
Put a yikes there just
Yeah,
because.
that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, there's some yikes in that movie.
Let's see.
After you some yikes, fucker.
All right. Let's see. Is there anything we want to call out in music, charm,
I thought the music was
cinematography,
good.
Yeah, I would call out the music.
storytelling, action, and art? What? Okay. What do people want to put?
Music and
Music.
art.
Oh, there we go.
I'd say put like it's got a unique look for artistry.
Thumbs down to storytelling, because man, does a bad job.
That's-
Maybe your mileage may vary for charm, because some people are
That-
going to be like
yes.
super into this. Some people are just going to be like, oh, and
And I guess I forget if this should be. I would definitely put like in the yay. This was, even for all its faults, this was made with abundant love. You could tell they very clearly cared about this, even if it doesn't like make it good. They cared. They put the. It definitely has a feel of people cared that they put into it.
Also, Lolo, I would say it's got a unique look. It's probably more fitting than a thumbs up for artistry.
Yeah. Let me go grab that. I'll go ahead and put that, and then got a unique look. That one, yep.
Also, man, I got 2 fucking nays right off the bat.
Go for it.
Actually, go ahead first, Turbo.
I would say, boy, it was the XDs, wasn't it?
that's
And
what I was
also
thinking.
length.
Yeah,
Those two,
that
I
fits.
feel length in multiple ways. One, it's almost a 2-hour long movie. Two, it's
I don't mind a 2-hour movie, but it's too truncated for its own
yeah,
good. Is
that's
the
the other
problem.
thing for length that I would put in. Yes, boy, was the XDs. Yeah, that's definitely the one I was thinking of.
Hmm.
Yeah, no, yep.
'Cause I was also thinking, as far as storytelling, is wasted potential. Because there's
Yes.
a lot of story there. They just had no time to tell it.
Yeah, because I got wasted potential for story. What's that one?
Should we put shoehorned elements from games?
I was almost thinking that.
Yeah, I'm down with that.
Because the
Yeah,
thing
that's
I
it.
would say about it is that it's not like, oh God, what was the thing? Well, it's not like that Super Mario one where it was like every 5 minutes. This one I feel was like very sparingly used.
Okay, no, I'll give you that one.
Yeah, it's like I'll give it that. It's like they're not welded in well, but it's like they're not like super in your face about it. I think. Is there anything else? I think though.
No, I think that's good.
Yeah, because we don't have to
Actually-
do 3.
We do the light bulb for technical.
Y-
Yeah.
Yes, because it's like on a technical level, this is very interesting and well done. Like,
Yeah, because I feel like some of the things that they're going for, it's very hit or miss whether or not things are like, especially because it's like I forgot what his full name was, but the first one was not a great fight. The brothers one was a good fight, like looked good. Fighting Roxy looked good.
again,
Like,
Roxy is the best fight in the movie.
yeah, it's with not counting Roxy, it's like the fights get better as the movie goes. So yeah, there's that. I kind of feel like that. Is there anything we want to put for action since we're thinking of charms?
Your mileage may vary.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
hit and miss.
All
Some
right.
fights are good, some kind of suck.
All right.
Yeah, the issue is the inconsistent quality, you might argue.
Yeah. All right. Well, with that, I think that is good for ranking. Before I do my little thing, let me get this up so that I can.
Man,
It'll save me time.
Look at this incredibly diverse collection of fucking charms.
Right.
I think it's actually probably the most diverse set of charms we have. Outside of maybe, oddly enough, the professional Coco 13. Or like, or Uncut Gems. Also, is another one that was pretty much entirely that. Okay.
No, Go-Go 13 has a few repeating ones.
Has a few repeating ones, but also has a lot of.
This one doesn't
ones.
have any repeating ones.
Your mileage may vary.
I guess.
All right. Well, with that, before we move on to the closing bit, X, is there anything you want to plug?
Yeah, the Autistic Self Advocacy Network.
All right. Carnival.
Your local bail or charity.
Okay, DM.
You can follow me at twitch.tv/deathmaster780 and at twitter.com/deathmaster780.
All right, coolio.
Firster is my radio show slash podcast, Square Wave Symphony, your home for video games, chiptunes, and all things weird and geeky. That is at lowbiasgaming.net/squaresim, and also at squaresim on Twitter. And I also occasionally stream at twitch.tv/cooliomzx.
Damn it, let keyboard work, please.
I like how together you have your pitch.
Torpo.
I try.
So twitch.tv/torpidtypist and at torpidtypist on Twitter, the usual stuff. And I would like to plug Scott Pilgrim for being such a little shit.
Yes.
So
Anyway,
this time you want to plug a hole into someone.
No, plug also means shoot.
yes.
Yes, exactly. That's what I was saying.
Yes.
All right. Well, with that, that's going to do it for Scott Pilgrim versus the World. Next week, we got something completely different. This is one that has an incredibly tenuous link to video games, I will fully admit. But it's something that I've kind of want to watch. And it's kind of something that's fun to watch this one in particular, because I kind of wanted to do, this is a second of 2 movie set, although I don't believe they're related. But this is also part of a larger series in total. We're going to be taking a look.
Solid.
Yeah, because that's the thing, is we're taking a look at the Guyver, Dark Hero, which is a very early acting role for David Hayter, who is, best known as the voice of Solid Snake. And in fact, in the demo for Metal Gear Solid, he actually used the name of his character from this movie as his pseudonym. So there is a somewhat tie to video games, even though we haven't looked at Metal Gear Solid yet. But whatever. That's just kind of one of those bigger ones. It's like, And
it's not to be confused with MacGyver, which is
no,
what
this
I
is
always
not
thought.
MacGyver. This is The Guyver, which is a completely different series.
It finally happened.
Massively.
It finally happened.
Yes.
All it took was some careful manipulation, and we got it.
Yes. So yeah, that's what we're going to be watching next session. So that'll be a fun one, mainly because it's actually on YouTube, not like the first movie. So, yeah, that'll do it. So thank you all for listening.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Meet.
Bye.
If you would like to see the list in which we have ranked every single thing we've done for Media Delta, you can go to r3.ldp.life in your browser. If you would like to watch the sister show that determines what could show up on Media Delta, that's Retro Rank Rhapsody, you can watch it live on Twitch at twitch.tv/LoloToPuzzlo or on YouTube at youtube.ldp.life. If you would like to discuss this episode of others, please join our Discord server by going to discord.ldp.life in your browser, which should give you a link. Thank you again for listening.